But I'm now pleased to welcome to Loose Ends not three but one Manic Street preacher, James Dean Bradfield, the singer, songwriter and lead vocalist and guitarist of the Manics, or should that be the Preachers, since they got going at school in Blackwood in South Wales in the 1980s. But James, you're here to tell us about your solo album, Even in Exile. So there's quite a story behind this. So what is it about?
It's a concept album about somebody called Victor Hara, who was, he was a theatre director, he was a singer-songwriter, what you loosely might call a protest singer, and a political activist.
Yes.
And obviously he came from what you would call a broadly Marxist background. That was his ideology, I suppose. And he came from very humble beginnings. He came from a plantation family, and not much was expected of him. But he quickly rose to the top, became, a very, very popular kind of revolutionary singer, he called himself.
And this is in Chile.
Yeah, in Chile. Became a very popular kind of political singer in Chile, and was involved in kind of Allende's election, which was like the first Marxist, democratically elected Marxist president in that part of the world. So he was very, very connected to politics in Chile, but he met a terrible end when there was a subsequent coup from Pinochet in 1973, and he was murdered by the Pinochetistas.
So Pinochet came in, and he, along with a lot of other people, was rounded up and locked up in a stadium, and they broke his fingers, tortured him, and it's a case that's gone on for a long while in the sense that he was murdered, and then, regimes have come and gone, and various inquiries have gone on, and people were prosecuted many years later for his murder.
Yes, Joan Hara, his wife, who's an English lady, she bravely went back to Chile, and she has chased justice for her husband since his murder in the stadium. And there has been prosecutions in the last couple of years or so, yes.
But this was 1973 when
yes.
he died. What has drawn you to this particular story?
I think there's a few things. Manic Street Preachers took a break, so I was looking for something to do. And my friend, Patrick Jones, who's the brother of Nicky from Manic Street Preachers, he's a performed playwright and poet in his own right, and he was just doing writing exercises about Victor Hara. I always pop in and see him when I'm driving up in the valley, seeing my father on Sundays back here in Wales, and he was just doing lots of prose writing, lots of poems, a one-man little play. He was just writing lots about Victor Hara as an emotional exercise. And when he made it clear to me that he wasn't going to release any of this, I thought, what a waste. And I just saw a concept album there, ready for me to write the music to. But also, I think you just touched upon it in the question. Victor Hara and his music has been an echo that's been coming through other musicians for a long time. In the 80s, I remember a band called Working Week writing a song about Victor Hara. U2 wrote a song about him. Simple Minds dedicated an album to him. Clash, the Clash mentioned him in a song called Washington Bullets. So it's something that I grew to know a lot about through other people's music and films.
All right. Now, obviously, when you're talking about a solo album, the question arises, what about the Manics? Is there going to be any more from them as a group?
Oh, God, I'm in the studio in Killeen today, working on Manic Street Preachers demos. I only ever do a solo record when Nick and Sean tell me that we're taking a longer break than usual. I have the best job in the world being in a group with the two people I grew up with. Whenever I do something like this, it's because Nick and Sean have told me to go off in another field and have a play for a while. I
just wondered if, because of the lockdown and the social distancing, you had to do a solo record because you couldn't be getting together as much as you would.
No, I had all this finished before lockdown, so that was a bit of luck. It was all finished in January or so. But like I said, I'm here in the studio now working on Manic Street Preachers.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that your fans will be pleased to hear that. So James Dean Bradfield, thank you very much. We're going to play something from Even in Exile, but to end the interview, so thank you very much for joining us here on Loose Ends, James.
Cheers, Clive. Thank you.